used to living in chaos. Okay. So first of all, thanks for your time, and we'll make it as short as possible because we are going to do a follow-up session which is going to be more intense and important, significant than the one, because this is only a context setting. Because we cannot just integrate something overnight. It takes time, and for that we need more conversations, more interactions between us to integrate this totally into our organization. So now, before we start culture, let's get to on an individual personality level. If I just ask some of you, what makes your identity? What would you say? Like, any one of you can randomly go. If I just say, who are you? When I say who are you, it's not your gender, it's not your name, it's not your qualification, it's not your social status, nor your financial status. But what makes you as a person? Maybe any one of you, feel free to go ahead.
How we behave.
Suhas? Sorry, Karthik, yeah?
What we work, but how we behave.
How we behave, okay. For example, let us say Karthik says that he's honest, he is very supportive, he is helping people, he is collaborative. Let's assume that Karthik defines himself like that. But let us say that I go to him for help, or one of you goes to him for help, and let us say he is occupied, he couldn't reciprocate what he said. Second time you go, the same thing happens. Next time you go, the same thing happens. Now you tell me, you have two identities here. One, what Karthik identified himself as when he introduced himself to you. The second identity, what he made you to experience when you were interacting with him. What would you remember him as?
His body language.
No. My question is, Karthik said something like, this is who I am. But you felt something else when you were talking to him, when you were interacting with him. Which snapshot will take an imprint in your mind?
What he demonstrated.
What he demonstrated in his behaviors. Is that right? So, to sum it up, let's recall this quote. You are not what you say you do, you are what you do. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Take a pause to digest this. Because we all say a lot of things. I am this, I am that. That's not what makes us. What we actually do, the way we behave. But let's say, I defined myself as something and I have demonstrated a behavior today. And tomorrow that is not there. Day after tomorrow, again it is not there, something else is there. So, how would you identify me? Do you see a consistency? Do you see a authenticity? Do you know who Visu is?
No.
You won't. So that means it's not just what we do, it's what we consistently do. Do you agree with me? That's what makes our identity. For example, you go to your family, everybody knows who I am. Like people know, for example, when he goes to his home, his family, his parents, they identify because there is a personality around us by which the entire ecosystem and the world around us identifies us as. Do you agree? Correct? So now that we are very clear that who we are consistently makes us at a personal, individual level, let's have a look at what is organizational culture. What is culture in an organization? It's as simple as what personality is at an individual level is what culture at an organizational level. So this sums it up everything, as you can see. The way my character, my integrity, my personality is what makes me. Culture is what makes the organization. You don't need any sophisticated or complicated definition. It's very simple. You understand, right? So when we said at a personality level, how do we want to be identified as? The way we consistently behave is what makes our identity, right? Similarly, in an organization, how we are consistently, for example, you go to great companies, you go to Google, you go to Apple, you go to Microsoft. People talk about culture. For example, from the receptionist, from the helper, from the supervisor, from the manager, you will see a uniform, consistent body language, consistent approach towards you. Suppose you call any of the bank, ICICI Bank or any of the renowned banks, you will see a uniformity, you will see a consistency in the way they speak to you. Is that right? That's how you understand this is Apple, this is Microsoft, this is Google, this is Facebook. Isn't it? How they build brands. They build brands not just based on what they are selling the world. They build brands by being consistent, in who they are to the world. Do you agree with me? So now that we know what is culture, let's understand that culture is nothing but, it is not just the way we behave, it is the way we think, it is the way we act, it is the way we interact, it is the way we collaborate, it is in everything the way we are aligned to the world around us. Right? I hope those on Teams can hear me out. Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. So now that we understood what is culture, can you tell me why culture is important? You can say, I am coming, I am doing my work, I am leaving. Why do we need a culture? Do we really need one? Why do we need a culture?
So that we can build our environment. We can have
Okay.
a connection with the other events. So we should have a culture for sure.
Okay.
So that
More
easy
work
and
life
smooth.
should be balanced.
Sorry?
Work life should be balanced.
Okay.
So now our culture makes other people trust you.
Wonderful. Next.
Individual personality should be good.
No, personality at an individual level. I'm talking about at an org context. Why?
Relay the answers so that others can listen.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, whatever the answers you are getting, relate to the.
Yeah, understood. Yeah. So simple, as you can see, I mean, there are many, because great organizations have miserably failed just because they lack culture. You go to Google, you just type, how toxic cultures have affected organizations. Some of the greatest organizations, finest organizations have miserably failed. And some of the very, very small, you take Facebook, just Mark Zuckerberg, an idea just, got himself into Facebook. And you take Google, they were just, a search engine platform. Now they transformed beyond being a search engine. You understand, right? So how they have built, you take Apple, again, the kind of products Apple makes. So the thing is, culture is the fundamental backbone of any organization. For example, if you don't have a personality, you don't have an individuality, you lose your friends, your significant others, family, your relations, all of them, they don't regard you, they don't respect you for who you are. The moment you are not regarded, you are not respected, you are not remembered for who you are. You understand, right? You won't be able to progress anything in life. Similarly, if organizations are not known, are not regarded, are not remembered for who they are not going to sustain in the business in a longer run. It's as simple as that. So, which means culture becomes the backbone for any enterprise. And second, as somebody said, it helps organization because, for example, all of you become, it's not just Krishna or myself or Chris, Ravi, we make the culture, or Mohan. Each one of you are the brand ambassadors of the culture of this enterprise. Because when you go to the world recognizes you as a Ritean, as part of an enterprise called Rite. That's how they make a decision whether they can come and join this organization or not. Is that right? For example, I posted on LinkedIn yesterday that we have openings. I've got some 15-20 profiles overnight, just within the span of 24 hours. That means, because I have an identity, people are looking up to me, but this guy is part of an enterprise, that means I can trust this enterprise. Correct? So which means it helps us to attract and retain our talent, not just attract the talent, but how to retain the talent. If you are not happy here, in the workplace, obviously you are not going to stay. It's not about money, it's not about salary, it's not about the work. It's about how fulfilled you are feeling end of the day when you leave out of this workplace. Isn't it? Now, resilience in tough times. For example, we know about recessions. We know about what happened in 2001 and 2. We know what happened in the financial crisis which happened in 2008 and 9. We also know the kind of slowdown which is happening in the recent times. So it is the culture which will help the organization to be resilient. How they can go over these tough times. How they can cross these financial, social, economical turbulence, and how they can sustain in a long run. So it helps us to build the resilience. Competitive advantage. I have a phone, you have a phone. Every phone, there are some 100+ players in the market. Every player has a unique competitive advantage in carving the product, isn't it? That's how some people look up to Apple, some to OnePlus, some to Samsung, or it goes on. So the thing is, what becomes your competitive advantage? Our culture is our competitive advantage in the market over other competitors. Now, brand identity. I mean, we spoke about it. The way Apple, any top brands you take, how they branded it. It's only the kind of culture they are part of. That's how they resonated to the external world, and that's how they build the brand, right? So we all like brands, right? I mean, the kind of shirts you wear, the kind of shoes you wear. We want to be associated with brands because that gives you status. You understand, right? So I think our culture is nothing but how it builds our brand. The last one, it is the most significant one. What you are seeing, org citizenship behavior. I don't know how many of you are from MBA background who can understand the terminology citizenship behavior. See, we are all Indian citizens. A citizen, for example, in my home, if something is not hygiene, nobody will tell me to clean it. I will clean it myself because I feel that this is my home, right? Similarly, when an employee considers himself a citizen in the organization, he goes over and above the call of the duty. Nobody tells him or her what to do. He or she, they will know what to do. It is called autonomous. So we will speak more about it, autonomy versus accountability, how we can actually build an autonomous organization in our follow-up session. But to tell you what citizenship behavior is, my manager no need to tell me what time I should come, what type of etiquette I should follow. I know it by myself because I know my belonging is here. I know this is my extended family. I know I am part of a workplace where how I behave is where the organization's reputation is at stake. I just inculcate such mindset, such behaviors within me without somebody telling me. That is what is citizenship behavior. So this culture will invoke such behaviors in all of us. You understand, right? So now that we know why culture is important, now tell me who makes our culture?
We will make us.
Right? I think we already, it's like the answer is already out. So who makes our culture? All of us together. So, correct, employees. All of us. It includes everyone, not just employees. It could be a partner, it could be a contractor. Anybody who has an association with this enterprise is going to be instrumental in making the culture of the organization. You agree with me?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do we make? Now that we know how what is culture, why culture is important, how do we make the culture? Again, I take a pause here and I have some of you to reflect with me to understand how exactly we are going to make it.
Follow some rules, regulations.
Okay? Let's call it rituals, not just rules and regulations. Rituals, yeah. Then?
The way we speak with other colleagues.
Absolutely, that's a good one. Yeah.
Dressing sense. The way we dress ourselves, that should not affect other colleagues.
Maybe we can say the way we are perceived. Let's go, rather than just saying physical appearance. Let's say the way we are perceived. Yeah. Next. So, it is everything that we do. The way we communicate with each other. The way we celebrate when there is something, our success. And the way we behave with each other. The way we make decisions in the organization. And our daily routines, our rituals, and the way we collaborate and engage with each other. It includes starting from the day when I come, how I greet with each one of you. How am I going to wear a smile? How am I going to be there when somebody requires my help? You understand, right? So I think it's everything that we do when we are part of this enterprise. Our behaviors, our mindset, the way we approach to other people, the way we have approach to the work that we do, it includes everything. So we will, dig deep dive into this, all of this, how we are going to resonate this type of a culture in the follow-up session. But in the interest of time, now that we know what makes the culture, how do we get there? Let's have a very, very simple workflow. Step 1, step 2, 3, 4, that's it. We are there. So let's have a very simple defined workflow. Maybe one of you can actually, can say how do we get there? If anyone can have it can be right, wrong, don't hesitate, just go on. How do we get there to start with? I mean, this goes back to the individual level. As an individual, we all want to be respected, we all want to be remembered, we all want to be regarded. What is the starting point?
Punctuality.
Sorry?
Punctuality.
Okay. But what is punctuality? That's a good one. What is punctuality? Okay, no, I'm
On time.
behavior.
okay, but what drives the behavior? Attitude, but what is even driving the attitude? There is an attitude, it is behavior. Then you peel the layer and next comes the attitude. You peel the layer, there is something else. I am trying to get you to the core. What is that core?
We should interact with
Mutual
everyone so
respect.
that they'll be knowing what are we exactly. Interaction with everyone.
That is again on the outer peripheral. I mean, it is still on the behavioral side. Next.
Mutual respect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So,
Some input from there also. Ask.
okay, yeah. Those on teams. Any of you want to just give it a shot? Priya, Lavanya.
Yeah, I said like it will start from entering the office on time. So it will start from there to leaving an office.
Okay.
Yeah. On time.
Yeah, well, all of these being valid, to just give a broader umbrella to what all of you said, it is our values. Let us put a 3-step, like as you see on the screen. Our values is what determine our behaviors. And our behaviors will determine the culture. And our culture will determine the outcomes of the organization. It's as simple as that. This is very simple. I am not saying this. This is again no rocket science. This is just what it is. It's as simple as that. Right? So, we need to understand what are the values that we believe in, because only when we know our values, for example, as a person I may believe in integrity, I may believe in honesty, I may believe in compassion, being compassionate. But now that I know my values, am I demonstrating those behaviors? Correct or not? Unless I demonstrate, for example, you see me for 1 month, you see me for 2 months, I may say I am compassionate. But unless you find me compassionate over a consistent period of time in all my behaviors, are you going to believe that Visu is compassionate? You will not. So which means our value, it's not just having a values. It's about how you demonstrate and resonate with everyone in your behaviors. Because it is the behaviors which will determine the culture. Because culture is not something you can see. Culture is not something you can touch. Culture is not something you can smell. It can only be experienced. Say yesterday somebody joined. She walks into the organization. That day 1, day 2. What is that overall feeling or experience she is getting is what is culture. You understand, right? I should not be going and telling the new joiner what the culture is. It is the experience that new joiner who is going to get in whatever experience they get being part of this ecosystem. So once we have the culture, the outcomes are, it is just a byproduct. You don't need to decide that it will fall in place by itself. Okay, so with that, now that we understood that the starting point is values, so Krishna, in our all hands meet, he actually, it's not that the values are designed, the values were already pre-existing. You understand, right? We just gave a form or shape to the values we were believing in, so that it becomes more prevailing, it becomes more, on the outer surface level, it becomes more visible. So these are our values, which means rapport with all stakeholders. It could be your customers, fellow colleagues, to your managers, to your subordinates, to even the facility staff. Everyone in the ecosystem will be under the stakeholder set. So how we are going to rapport? Rapport is not just a relationship. Rapport is a close, harmonious relationship. That means where they just understand. In your family, do you have to justify that how you are, who you are? They know you, right? Because there is a harmonious relationship. That is exactly what we need to maintain. And innovation, we believe in continuous learning organization. Okay. So how we are going to innovate? Innovation is not just technology and science. Innovation can be anything, like some things lying on the floor. How differently this floor can be arranged? How differently we can work better? You understand, right? Any new perspective, idea which can challenge the status quo is innovation for a greater good, not just you, for the organization. That is innovation. Transparency. That means it's not that we in meeting rooms we say something and we behave something. We spoke about it at an individual level. How transparent are we are? Because do you trust me? I mean, without transparency, do you trust me? I hold something in my head. I say something when I say to you, and I behave something else. I lost the trust. So how transparent we are as an organization, that is what is going to build the trust. Then excellence. Again, we will speak about it because we are here for customer success. As Krishna said in the HM, without customer we don't exist here. So if we have to keep the customer in the collaboration with us, in the joint venture with us, we need to ensure that whatever we deliver, it will have that excellence. You understand, right? So with this, so now we spoke about the framework, right? Values will get us the behaviors. Behaviors will get the outcomes. Culture will determine the outcomes. So now that we know the starting point, what our values are, what is the next step that we need to do? We need to break each one of them into the behaviors. We need to understand what type of behaviors will translate to rapport. What kind of behaviors will go with innovation? What kind of behaviors will lead to transparency? And what behaviors to excellence? That is where our follow-up session is. Wherein this is not, again, we are not going to determine the behaviors. We wanted to launch a form. That form will be circulated to you by someone in the team, Shruti, or someone with all of you. We want you to actually think, take a couple of minutes, and let us know what kind of behaviors you want to have and want to see in this ecosystem for us to resonate this. Keep that in mind. We'll give a couple of days time. Please provide your inputs. Once we have the inputs, we will do a collage. We will totally consolidate, condense, and come up with a crisp, to understand what kind of behaviors as an org we all need to resonate. Because once we have those behaviors, we have the culture. Once we have the culture, we have the progress and outcomes, everything is in place by itself. Right? So now, as I said, this is just a context setting. Right? We cannot just play around with culture just like making a PPT or it is not that, because it is a collective experience, it is a collective mindset. It is not at an individual level. So I think without it's just that I am being the forefront in it, I am being the face of it. But as I said, each one of us are the brand ambassadors of this culture. Right? So there will be a follow-up session within a week from now, which will totally go to the rock bottom of the behaviors. Say I come to the office. In meeting rooms, what are the routines? When the recruiters call the candidate, what are the behaviors? What ritual, what they need to do? What are our daily routines? How we should greet each other? We are going to dig deeper into that kind of a daily routines to understand what will get us to resonate with the kind of culture that we are looking for. Right? With this, once again, thank you so much. Krishna, Chris, you guys want to say anything, please. Any of you, not just them. I think, it's an open, as I said, we believe in transparency. It's an open conversation. And if I say something that doesn't mean that we have to go by it. We are open for the best idea. Here, again, I keep telling my HR team as well, it is not that my point of view should win, it is the best idea that should win. But again, the best idea, we should have a rule of thumb. Is it for the greater good? Is it going to make us better? Is it going to eliminate some sort of effort and help us in make some kind of progress? All of these are the rule of thumb for us to make any decisions. That's where I said, culture, how we make our decisions. It is not biased, it is not based on prejudice, it is not based on race. Right? So, I think, thank you once again. Okay.
Come back on top.
Chris?
So I just want to say one thing. We this is the foundation what you talked about, and it's very important stage for us to really look at what is the foundations we had, okay, and how to really continue to build on that, right? So it was easy to do it when it is small. When I was alone running the shop and I was doing the direct talking to the candidates, talking to the customers, and onboarding process. Everywhere I was involved, right? Starting from marketing to and recruitment and everything. But now we are we are in a different league and we are looking at growing to the next level, right? So, but how do you ensure that the same level of experience anybody who walking into the company will continue, right? It is easy to do it for a single person when we are small, right? On the floor, small company on the floor, and it's much easier to interact and much easier to influence and show that who we are when we are trying to attract some of the best talent from GE or some of the best talent from Oracle or some of the best talent from other companies. I was able to do it individually, right? But as we are growing, that number of recruits or number of hires, everything exponentially grows, right? So it's no longer going to be one person's job, okay? So how do you ensure that all other people who are involved or part of the team would also do exactly the same way how we actually wanted to do it? It is not like somebody can only look at me and learn and do it. It's not that model, right? It is more of a inculcating these kind of a behaviors, okay, which comes as a part of our core values. So that's why we put in the core values, ensuring that this is how we wanted to go about. We never probably talked about core values so much in our meetings, but they were there. So thanks to Visu, he is had highlighted very beautifully how we actually it falls under our right acronym, but the core values were already there, right? So this is a time really to understand them and start following those aspects, which most of the companies anyway will have the same. So wherever you go, whatever your behaviors you are going to get as a part of this will take you to the next level as an individual as well, right? So be part of this journey, give all the inputs what I think they are asking for. That way it is not kind of an organization wants to come with some culture and enforce on you. It won't work that way. Okay? It is we all have to come together and we all have to celebrate together and we all have to believe in some together, then only this will be successful. Okay? Thank you, Visu, for putting together.
Let's celebrate when we get there actually. That's what our end goal is. Okay, when somebody joins and they tells us that, hey, yes, I mean, within a month of joining your organization, I totally, you are not just saying for the sake of it, but you are truly demonstrating for what you believe in. That's when our success is. It doesn't happen in a day. But as I said, we'll need more conversations. We'll actually collaborate more in the coming days. Thank you so much, and thanks to those who joined us remotely. And once again, sorry, that we had to start this late. We respect everyone's time. And yeah, sorry. Thank you. No, that's okay. I think we can.